during the next month I've got to face the most difficult decision of my life. Whether I stay with Southampton and play in the second division next year, as we're going to do, or whether I move to a more successful and glamorous club and try to get some honours as such with them and give up everything which I've got here going for me. It's obviously a very difficult decision.
11 years ago, 15-year-old Michael Channon, a country boy from the back and beyond of Wiltshire, packed his bags and travelled down to Southampton to become a football apprentice. Today, as Mike Channon Limited, he has a board of directors, an accountant, a £40,000 farmhouse in Hampshire, 2 cars, 2 businesses, and a racehorse or 2 for good measure.
Ladies and gentlemen, a young man I think it's very safe to describe as soccer's newest superstar, Southampton's international striker. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome please Mr. Mike Channon.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not very good at speaking. I would just like to declare this youth fair open, and straight away I'll hand you back to the gaffer.
Thank you, Mike. Fine.
Embarrassed and often tongue-tied, Channon goes about the daily business of the superstar. These days he's on nodding terms with a prime minister or 2, jets reluctantly around the world, is sought after by the press. His name has been heard from Red Square in Moscow to Rio in Brazil. The soccer superstar is a phenomenon of the 70s, and it's a role for which Shannon's background and education have not prepared him. Only a natural flamboyance and a likeable personality see him through.
Give them all a nice big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Make them feel at home. You'll have a nice little turn round, girls. Let the judges see the other side. Lovely. And off you come. So here we go then. Miss Bikini, Bournemouth, 1975. Penny Rainford, and for a living, she's a horse racing correspondent.
The most puzzling thing about Channon, though, is not that he should be the celebrity that he undoubtedly is, but that he should be here at all, playing football for Southampton. Southampton Football Club is creaking under the pressures of swelling costs and shrinking crowds. Recently, in order to buy a new player, it's reported that the club had to mortgage its entire stock of season tickets. The Saints have always been an unfashionable side. To visiting supporters, the Dell is something of a joke, a cramped, primitive place. But Southampton has 2 things that any other club would treasure. It's a happy club, and it has Mike Channon. The Saints are the only club that Channon has ever known, has ever wanted to know, from the days when, as a boy, he stood week after week on the terraces. Channon is a footballer of remarkable talent and dazzling speed, currently reckoned to be the fastest man in the game. Last year he was hailed as the first £500,000 footballer, the only English player of truly world class. Then suddenly last summer this rare talent disappeared from the top football grounds of the country, possibly forever. Southampton were relegated to the second division, and Channon along with them. In a frenzy of speculation, newspapers transferred him for colossal sums to almost every club in the first division. What few suspected is that Channon would, as they saw it, put his career and his England shirt in jeopardy by choosing to stay with Southampton and face life in the lower divisions.
I feel something for Southampton which I feel that the supporters ought to feel, you know what I mean? I'm like at times I think, Christ, Mick Shannon's he plays for Southampton, but I'm their biggest supporter, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I feel that I want them to be the best. I want them to sort of win this year. I want them to win the second division championship. I felt that we could, without any question. The start of the season, I honestly and truthfully thought that Southampton would win the second division championship. it's been a very disappointing year, you know. I mean, what more can I say?
A lot of people will say you're mad even to think of staying with a second division club when you've become established as an international player.
A lot of talk, yes, but I don't really see, you know, why they say I'm mad. Obviously, if I never had a good standard of living, if life wasn't good to me, if football wasn't good to me, you know, obviously then I probably would be unsettled and probably want to move. But my standard of living is good. You know, I've got a nice house, I've got a nice car. You know, everything in my life is what I've wanted.
On and off the pitch, Channon now earns more than £20,000 a year, which makes him one of the highest paid footballers in the land. Today he's inspecting his latest business venture, a freezer food centre at Fair Oak in Hampshire. It cost him little more than the use of his name and a few hours of his time each week.
Morning, ladies. Morning, man. Action, yeah, that's right. That's right. Or is it good afternoon, is it?
Nearly.
I'm usually in on time, nice and early.
Is everything going yesterday?
Yeah, great. Yeah, it makes a change to win. No, it's smashing, yeah. And I think everybody enjoyed it. Yeah. Well, it's just right. Oh, yeah? Oh, good girl. That's what I like to see.
I'm glad you came, really. Huh? I'm glad you came.
Oh, they're bloody heavy, aren't they?
That's a nice bit.
Huh? That's about there?
Yeah. You make a line across. Oh, you done there?
Just about there. Right?
Yeah, straight through your
For most footballers, life becomes a frantic race to carve out a quick profit, to exploit their name to the full in the year or two they're at the top. The money goes into setting up businesses which they hope will sustain them when their playing days are over. Many of them fail.
It's easy when
you know how, isn't it?
Easy when you know.
As yet, Channon has no idea what he'll do when football finishes with him. All Shannon's business interests, though, take second place to feeding the horses. Like many other footballers, Shannon's favourite relaxation is racing, but for him it goes much deeper than the form book and the betting shop. With an ex-Southampton player, Brian O'Neill, he's become an owner, and family life now revolves around keeping and racing their horse.
I remember at Goodwood, and I had been training in the morning. I went to the race course in the afternoon, and funnily enough, Brian O'Neill couldn't make it this day, and we went into the ring there, and the trainers there, Mr. Whiteman, and the little apprentice come in. He's only about that high, and I remember Bill Whiteman giving him his orders, you know, and he says about 3 furlongs out, he says, he says, if you have to give her one, pick up the stick and give her one, he says. And I said to him, don't miss. And there was a horse in the race called Eric, and I remember him saying, like, don't let Eric get too far in front, because a few weeks earlier they let Eric sort of slip the field, and we could never catch her. Anyway, the lad rode a great race on her, and he sat handy on Eric's tail, and sort of coming around into the straight in about 3 furlongs, just as Bill Whiteman says, he sort of pulls him out, comes upside, like, and I was looking through the glasses, and I could hardly hold him at the time, and I remember shouting, right lad, give her one, and he picked up his stick as I said it and give her one. So I says, right, I won't need them glasses anymore, put my glasses down and go on, my beauty. And you know, I mean, the pleasure that gives you, it's you can't sort of, I don't think you can buy pleasure like that.
Saturday, April the 5th, Southampton versus Manchester United at the Dell, the big one. Last season, this same match was vital for both teams. In the end, a 1-1 draw sent them both down into the second division. This time, it's vital only for Manchester United. A win today will send them straight back up again. For Southampton supporters, there's nothing to be cocky about. Whatever the result, they'll be in the second division next season. In a private room above the Dell, the Saints manager Laurie McMenemy can do little now to soften the disappointments of a team which slid from near the top of the First Division to near the bottom of the Second. With 2 hours to kick off, he and his players kill time on a diet of cornflakes, toast and television.
Nice jacket, Elijah.
Good afternoon and welcome to World of Sport on a day when dreams of a Wembley Cup final appearance for two clubs might well be fulfilled and the hopes of the other two absolutely shattered. It is semi-final day, and in England only the second time since the war that no northern club appears in the last four.
Stop on the pavement.
No, basically, listen, you know that pattern. I was talking to Jim yesterday about it. They come away and they just want to play at their pace and their speed. They'll walk for throw-ins, you know, the ball goes out, they'll take their time on free kicks and that. And they want to frustrate. Now, they'll frustrate lesser teams, but they'll not really frustrate us, because we're better than them. That's the first thing, we know that. But the biggest thing we've got to do is put pressure on early on, right from the beginning, and hustle them. Now, if we can get one early on, they can take as much time as they want after that. Right?
Huh? Left new one?
Yeah, right. The old pair went, like the left one of the pair went.
For skipper Mike Channon, this match comes at a critical time in his career. At the start of the season, Channon said he'd give the Saints one more year in which to prove themselves and get back into the First Division. That year is now nearly ended. The Saints have only kept their place in the Second Division, and Channon is in danger of losing his in the England side. All the old pressures are back on him to move. This time, can he afford to ignore them? Clear clock, kick-off. The next 90 minutes are all that matter now to Mike Channon. Half-time, No score and nothing but frustration for Southampton. In the dressing room, the air is blue with recrimination and complaint.
Bastards give us it's the best way if I drive too fucking much, it's going to be low. I'm not going to like that.
Alright. Start off like a whirlwind, which is what we want to do. Alright, now I know you cannot keep that up all the time, but you keep the same principles going. If they cannot play in the middle of the park, they're not going to do anything to you.
We're pressuring, it's getting knocked to their players, they're coming away, knocked out their brains on the fucking chest and taking it away.
Because we're not pushing on.
We're as well folding off them, I'm telling you to do that.
What do you mean? Where? In the midfield?
You pressure them in their half.
In the midfield?
That's straight up front.
You're
knocked up, they're controlling it, bring it down, and they're fucking coming away with it.
If you're going to someone, everyone should be going on with the ball when the ball is there playing.
It's fucking not happening, that's what I'm saying.
Mickey, what I think's happening is they've got the same playing somewhere in the middle. I think it's up to you, Mel, maybe you push on.
Listen, I just want to push on in the middle.
Hey, one man and go.
Hey,
there's
any chance I can get a word in here? No, listen, I'm telling you, you've got to be coming out from the back quicker than you're coming out. Right. And I'll tell you what, Mel, when you do come out, you're coming out flat. 4 of you are coming out square, so 1 ball is doing the lot of you. Right?
Hey,
Hey, come on in. Now keep where you're going.
Let's keep it going.